And now it's time for this hour's news review. Palestinians have slammed an upcoming visit by the U.S. Secretary of State to an Israeli settlement in the occupied West Bank. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shaath says Mike Pompeo's visit next week is a way to legitimize the settlements. Shaath also says the move would set, quote, a dangerous precedent that violates international law. A spokesman for the Hamas resistance movement has called the planned visit an aggression on Palestinians' rights. Hazem Qasem says the measure reflects the U.S. government's bullying against Palestinians. Pompeo would become the first U.S. Secretary of State to visit an Israeli settlement. All Israeli settlements on occupied Palestinian territories are illegal under international law. I'd like to welcome my guests to this news review out of RamAlla, Press TV's Mona Kqndil, and out of Belfast, Saeb, Shaath, author and Middle East affairs expert. Thank you both for being with us. Let's start it off in RamAlla with Mona. Well, Mona, fill us in on reaction on your side of things.
Well, next Wednesday, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will be visiting Israel, the occupied territories in 1948, and he will be visiting the U.S. embassy that was transferred to Jerusalem, Al-Quds, as well as the illegal settlement of Kqndil that is near Ramallah, to visit one of the wineries there, according to the Israeli media. Last year, Mike Pompeo declared that he doesn't consider illegal settlements or the Jewish settlements as illegal. He considered them as part of Israel, and that's why the Kqndil winery named a bottle, according to the media, and he's coming to thank them. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shaath was the first to condemn the visit, as you were saying. He said it's a way to legitimize the illegal settlements. It's against the international law and would create dangerous precedent. It would be the first visit by a U.S. Secretary of State to illegal settlements, and it comes 2 months before the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. However, the visit, according to the Palestinians, would be, let's say, a green light in a way or another to the Israelis to continue settlement construction, and as if he's trying to say that the new American administration is also following the steps of Trump by saying that settlements are illegal, and is giving them the green light to annex Jewish settlements.
Saeb, what do you make of this move by the U.S. administration, especially at this time where basically it's an administration in limbo? What do you think are the main reasons behind this move?
Trump is clearly intent in using the uncertain 2 months ahead of the swearing in of the next president in January 20. He wants to create havoc in the region. You notice what's going on at the time in the Western Sahara, in the desert. He promised Morocco, if Morocco recognizes the Zionist entity, he can oppose and cancel the American position before, which was drawn under James Baker as the Sahara to allow for self-determination toward achieving their independence. Now he wants to support Morocco's claim, causing a war in there, as we've seen so many thousands being injured and people on the move, and they will end in south of Europe. He wants as well to further the Zionist right-wing design as much as he can by bringing these reactionary regimes to recognize the Zionist entity state. As well, he wants to make sure what they promised, the Zionist entity, out of the what he called, quote-unquote, deal of the century, 30% of the West Bank to be annexed to the Zionist entity, with the settlements, of course, and the Jordan Valley, as well as they took to recognize all of Jerusalem as the capital, to annex and to, as they did, the Golan Heights All of that have to be done within the 2 months before Biden arrives. And that's to create a new realities on the ground to be very difficult for Biden to untangle and to straighten out the U.S. policies again. Since we know during this election period within the Democratic Party, there was compromise was achieved between the progressive and the liberals within the Democratic Party. Part of it was mainly 2 points. The two-state solution, which is Obama's administration supported before, Biden's will support as demanded by the progressive, and to rejoin the nuclear deal with Iran again, with lifting, of course, that means lifting of the sanctions, removing the Iranian central bank from the terrorist list, allowing Iran to go back to of course, export its oil to the international market. All of that is made the Zionist entity, the Saudis, go berserk practically. The Saudis, if we notice King Solomon, when he was addressing and encouraging the U.S. to punish Iran, so Pompeo in there to tell the Zionist entity and its friends and its allies, he's going to be going to the Gulf states as well after that, what they're going to do to hurry up with an aggressive campaign to try to destabilize Iran and to target the resistance movement. The New York Times reported that generals in the Pentagon were concerned about the possibility that Trump will launch such a campaign of aggression after his dismissal of Mark Esper, who opposed that.
Okay, and with that, I'd like to thank both of you for being with us on this news review out of Ramallah. Mona Kqndil, Press Feeds correspondent there, and out of Belfast, Saeb Shaath, author, Middle East affairs expert. And viewers, stay with us as we continue with the news right after this.